Anytime is a good time for a blood-chilling horror flick. Whether you're a fan of demonic nightmares, spooky ghost stories, gut-spilling gore fests, or good old-fashioned creature features, here's something you can find to scare up on Netflix. Want to stream and scream? Here are some of the best options to add to your list. The Evil Dead is the self-proclaimed ultimate experience in grueling terror, and it manages to live up to the claim. Even horror maestro Stephen King called it the most ferociously original horror film of the year when it came out back in 1981. Director Sam Raimi's feature film debut follows a group of college students who make an ill-fated getaway to a remote cabin in the woods. Then, things get weird. In the cabin's basement, they stumble upon a wicked-looking bone dagger, a book bound in human flesh, and an old tape with incantations to summon ancient demons. The curious teens play the tape and unwittingly unleash the sadistic Deadites, who have the ability to possess the living. It gets pretty bloody from there. But The Evil Dead is more than just blood-drenched jump scares. What adds to the movie's appeal are the still impressive practical effects, unsettling sound design, inventive camera work, and creepy makeup. It's a classic gorefest that still holds up very well today, and it will very likely continue to keep audiences screaming for decades more. Oh, and it also stars national treasure and B-movie legend Bruce Campbell, who takes on the role of the iconic Ash Williams for the first time. Director Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist has reliably delivered scares since its 1982 release. Produced and co-written by Steven Spielberg, Poltergeist is about a powerful entity that torments the Freeling family home and punches a hole into our earthly realm to abduct their youngest daughter, Carol Ann. Shockingly, the movie has a PG rating, but that's because of a technicality more than anything else. The PG-13 rating didn't exist at the time of its release. But even with such a seemingly tame rating and relatively little gore, it remains one of the scariest movies of all time. What elevates the movie and ups the scare factor so much are the convincing performances from the entire cast. It has that Spielberg touch. The designs of the practical and visual effects are also terrifying. You'll scream along with the Freeling family as they encounter ghostly apparitions, a terrifying tree that has an appetite for children, ghastly corpses in swimming pools, and arguably the creepiest clown doll to ever grace the silver screen. And who can forget Tangina Barron's hair-raising monologue about death and the afterlife?
To her, it simply is another child. To us, it is the beast.
If you haven't seen Poltergeist, you've been missing out on a true classic. If you're looking for even more ghostly scares, check out Our House, directed by Anthony Scott Burns. In it, a gifted college brainiac named Ethan is working on what could be a major scientific breakthrough, a machine that can generate wireless electricity. But after his parents are killed in a tragic car accident, he suddenly becomes the guardian of his kid brother and sister, and has no choice but to move in with them. While juggling his newfound parental duties as well as his studies, Ethan transforms the garage into a laboratory to continue his experiments, and soon discovers that his machine has an unexpected side effect. It's allowing souls of the deceased to commune with the living. At first, it seems his sister, Becca, is talking with their dead parents, but they soon discover it's something far more sinister. With its likable characters and strong performances, Our House builds up to a spooky finale with smoky apparitions reminiscent of the ones in Poltergeist, and well-timed, effective jump scares. What would you get if you threw the slasher, found footage, and dark comedy genres all into one? You'd get both Creep and its sequel, Creep 2. In this follow-up to the original, we check back in with Joseph, now going by Aaron, having taken the new name from his latest victim. Once again, he invites a videographer to his home to document his life. This time, it's Sarah, who has a web series devoted to deep diving into the lives of lonely men who put personal ads online. She responds to Aaron's intriguing ad, and the two meet up. He tells her outright he's a serial killer going through a unique midlife crisis of sorts. He's lost his passion for killing. As viewers of the first film would know, Aaron is a compulsive liar and a psychopath, but also very charismatic.
I will give you the deepest personal access into my soul that you could possibly imagine. I will rip myself open and let you see every last inch.
It's no wonder his victims look past his apparent oddness and let their guards down. But Sarah is strong-headed and smart. She's cautious and doesn't buy into Aaron's claims, even though she decides to spend a day with him. Creep 2 is a slow-burn character study of a serial killer with frantic bursts of action. We already know Aaron's a snake, But it's the anticipation of when that snake will strike that makes the film so unnerving. With a brisk 1 hour and 20-minute runtime, Creep 2 is a gripping and engaging indie thriller. It's no surprise that it has a coveted 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. From director Brian Bertino comes this unique creature feature. Kathy is an alcoholic and verbally abusive mother who has a very strained relationship with her headstrong daughter, Lizzie. On a stormy night, just hours after a profanity-laced argument, the two hit the road to Lizzie's father's house. On the way, they hit a wolf and find themselves stranded on the side of the road in their car. They find unusually large teeth stuck in the wolf's wounds, meaning it wasn't just the crash that killed it.
I think it was fighting with something.
What?
I don't know.
After their tow truck driver disappears and his severed arm smacks against the windshield, they soon realize that they're not alone and that some hulking monster is lurking in the nearby woods. The two must put their differences aside and together outwit the formidable beast. The premise may be simple, but Bertino makes the most of his budget and delivers some genuine scares while drawing a powerful performance from Zoe Kazan, who plays Kathy. Also of note, the titular monster is brought to life with all practical effects and no CGI. In the delightful horror thriller Would You Rather, Iris is the sole caretaker of her terminally ill brother. He's in dire need of medical attention, but she can't afford to pay for it. After meeting a filthy rich and sweet-talking aristocrat that horror fans may recognize as Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator, she's invited to a dinner party to play a game. The winner gets the money they desire, but there's a catch. If you lose, you die. The participants learn this grim fact after agreeing to the terms. Then they're held against their will and forced to continue playing the game. Would You Rather doesn't lean on jump scares. This isn't that type of movie. Instead, the focus is on body horror as the participants must choose between increasingly gruesome ultimatums if they want to make it to the next round. It's sometimes painful to watch. You'll scream, squirm, and flinch as characters are forced to endure inconceivable pain from bludgeoning and self-mutilation. After the movie is over, you'll never look at your eyeball in a hand mirror the same ever again. But even if you're the squeamish type, Would You Rather will have your eyes glued to the screen as you wait and see how the twisted game all plays out. If creepy children and malicious demons are your thing, look no further than Sinister 2. The sequel follows an ex-deputy as he investigates a string of killings linked to Bughuul, an ancient pagan demon who has a history of possessing and persuading children to kill their families while filming it. Our hero tracks down the next home marked for death and finds it's occupied by a mother and her twin sons. Of course, by the time he arrives, he's too late. The twins are already being manipulated by the relentless demon, so it's a matter of time before the bloodshed begins. One son in particular appears to be a ticking time bomb. This time, we get to see exactly how Bughuul recruits and corrupts children and what leads up to the heinous acts he has them commit. The films within the film are easily the most shocking and disturbing element. What happens in them is very likely every parent's worst nightmare. Sinister 2's production values are high, with moody lighting and a booming score for those loud jump scares. And there are plenty of them, since Bughuul and his acolytes are quite fond of appearing out of nowhere. The Ritual fits neatly into the horror subgenre that showcases how terrifying nature can be. Still shaken by the traumatic events of a deadly liquor store robbery, Luke and his 3 college buddies embark on a hike through the Scandinavian wilderness to honor the memory of their friend who was killed by one of the robbers. One of them gets injured, so they decide to take a shortcut and find themselves lost in some dense woods. It's not long before they come across a gutted elk, strange pagan markings in the trees, and ominous carvings in an abandoned cabin. They also start hearing beast-like roars and heavy stomping within the forest. The creature they encounter is right out of a twisted fairy tale. The design work and execution is truly nightmarish, and it's arguably one of the freakiest movie monster designs in some time. Other oddities the men encounter in an ancient village occupied by crazy worshippers are right out of a fever dream and show off the movie's outlandish production design. Dark, atmospheric, and oozing with creepy style mostly thanks to Nordic-infused mythology, The Ritual is an imaginative folk horror film that shouldn't be missed. What if you weren't just lost in the woods, but were lost in the 80,000-acre Amazon rainforest with an entire tribe of cannibals on your tail? That's the premise of Eli Roth's 2015 film The Green Inferno. which is very much inspired by the 1980 cult classic Cannibal Holocaust. The story follows a group of college activists who travel to the vast jungles of Peru. When their plane crashes, they're greeted by a hungry and not-so-friendly indigenous tribe. The captured students soon learn that they're welcome for dinner, and they're the main course. The Gorehound director never shies away from the carnage. The first ritualistic kill is one of the most gruesome scenes of the entire film, and Roth pushes the envelope on the movie's R rating. There are no monsters lurking in the shadows here. A majority of the horror happens in broad daylight, and aside from the graphic violence, the film has thrills, chills, and some dark humor. One scene involving cannibals consuming cannabis-infused human meat is particularly amusing, but the thrills and suspense pick up as the students devise their escape plan. The Green Inferno is lean and mean and will definitely make you scream. Having a morgue in the basement of your home might seem unusual, but it's pretty normal for seasoned coroner Tommy and his son Austin. The two spend their days having father and son talks while tinkering with cadavers and determining causes of death.
Everybody has a secret. Some just hide them better than others.
Their routine gets turned upside down when a sheriff brings in the body of a girl labeled Jane Doe that was found buried in the basement of a home where a grisly mass killing took place. The father and son observe many peculiar things about the condition of her pale and seemingly unscathed body. Some signs point to her having just died, while others indicate she's been dead for years. As they try to piece together the reason behind her death, disturbing, inexplicable, and possibly supernatural occurrences start to happen around the house, forcing the two men to doubt their scientific beliefs. Every mysterious reveal will keep you guessing and on the edge of your seat. And yes, it builds up to an intense third act with many well-timed scares sprinkled throughout. Masterfully directed by Andre Overdahl and expertly paced, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a smart, incredibly eerie, and consistently scary horror film. Thanks for watching. Click the links in our video to watch more from Netflix Film Club. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.